F. Scott Fitzgerald is seen as a very important and influential writer even today. His works, especially The Great Gatsby, have an incredibly distinct style apart from almost anything else. His writing style fits perfectly with the modernist movement, but some may argue that he also branches off from this to unintentionally create his own style. This style, also known as Fitzgerald, incorporates the modern as well as including incredibly descriptive detail and a heavy use of figurative language. Quotes from F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel The Great Gatsby support this and develop the idea of the figurative language's importance. An example of this is on page 17 of the book, where Fitzgerald writes, "She was only extemporizing, but a stirring warmth flowed from her, as if her heart was trying to come out to you, concealed in one of those breathless, thrilling words," in the point of view of his character Nick Carraway. Another piece of evidence could be seen in the similar quote of, "It was the kind of voice that the ear follows up and down, as if each speech is an arrangement of notes that will never be played again," from page 11. In both of these quotes, the use of figurative language is extremely dense. Phrases such as "a stirring warmth" and "the ear follows up and down" are examples of personification, which are used to immerse the reader in a scene. The vocabulary used, such as extemporizing and concealed, brings some much-needed complexities to the quotes, which makes the reader think more. This leads to both of these quotes being somewhat of juggernauts in terms of language use. Fitzgerald's incredible word choice and figurative language in The Great Gatsby that helps develop his style is found in Chapter 6 on page 108. Here, Fitzgerald writes, "Daisy began to sing with the music in a husky, rhythmic whisper, bringing out a meaning in each word that it had never had before and would never have again. When the melody rose, her voice broke up sweetly, following it, in a way contralto voices have, and each changed a little of her warm human magic upon the air." Once again from Nick's perspective. This is another excellent use of language. The descriptive words such as husky and rhythmic draw the reader in and make them agree with this statement in Nick's point of view. Implying that the words have never sounded this way and will never sound like this again imply a sense of urgency and uniqueness to Daisy's singing. Therefore, the descriptive language not only sets the mood here, but it also provides large amounts of imagery for the reader. This very descriptive way of writing is not only used in these quotes, but throughout the entire novel. This consistency helps give way to the unique style Fitzgerald has developed, also known as figurative. Language may be important in the figurative style, but Fitzgerald's use of modernism characteristics, especially the city and the jazz age, add immensely to it. A key example of this in play during Gatsby's party. Here, it is written that, "By midnight, the hilarity had increased. A celebrated tenor, and a notorious contralto had sung in jazz, and between the numbers, people were doing strutts all over the garden, while happy, vacuous bursts of laughter rose towards the summer sky." Simply put, this quote is an embodiment of the jazz age as a whole. Not to mention the fact that jazz is playing during the party, but people are also doing dances while laughing. This can be what many had felt during the time, as a period between two of the most devastating wars of all time. This short period of happiness is, in fact, the jazz age, and this party could be seen as a microcosm of that. Final example to add to the modernism portion of the figurative style is in Chapter 5. Here, Fitzgerald is describing the transition to nightlife that happened at the time. He writes, "Outside the wind was loud and there was a faint the sound. All the lights were going on in West Egg now. The electric trains carrying were plunging home through the rain from New York. It was an hour of profound human change, and excitement was generating on the air." Once again, this quote shows the true atmosphere of the jazz age, and to some extent, the city. It is bringing contrast to the city during the day, which is boring and monotonous. However, once it becomes night, the jazz age is truly shown. It is described here with a very lively and excited atmosphere, which also represents the mood of the people at the time. This proves that modernism characteristics are part of Fitzgerald's unique style, as they add an important critique to society that combines with the word choice and figurative language to form a powerful literary force. In conclusion, F. Scott Fitzgerald's unique writing style gives way to a possible new genre of literature. As a modernist writer, Fitzgerald often implemented the themes of this type of writing that were prevalent at the time, such as the jazz age in the city. These themes combine with the powerful use of English language in such a way that leave the reader stunned. The immense use of figurative language, especially personification, draws the reader into the text, as well as adding a much-needed requirement of interpretation for the reader. The reader is kept imagining through the use of descriptive detail and imagery, which makes scenes come to life. Overall, Fitzgerald's method of using modernism elements coupled with many writing language techniques creates an entirely new classification of writing, also known as